Galilee, oh Galilee, I'm going to walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, help me to walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, I'm gonna walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, help me to walk, Lord, to Galilee. Oh Lord, I do believe. Help my unbelief. Help me to walk through the roads of fear and clouds. Help me to raise my head. Help me to breathe each day. Oh Lord, help me to walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, I'm gonna walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, help me to walk to Galilee. Help me to walk to Galilee. We all have places in our life where life is abundant, where we believed, where we feel full of life, where everything connects and comes together. It is in these places in our life that we feel most connected, most grounded, most alive. For Jesus and his disciples, this place was Galilee. That's where it all began. Born in Nazareth, he grew, he matured, and he came back home, and he was too much for the people. But he goes down to this whispery town around this beautiful lake, Sea of Galilee, and their life is amazing. He teaches, and he heals, and he gives people hope, and they feel connected. What I want you to do for just a moment is to think about a time in your life where life was just good. You felt alive, connected, grounded. Every piston seemed to be firing. For a second in your mind, I want you to go back to that place, to hold that place. That feels good, doesn't it? Friends, that's what faith is really all about. If faith and religion and spirituality is truly working, the effect is this. It opens up our lives and helps us to see things differently. I look around the church this morning and I see happy faces, and I see tired faces, and I see worried faces, right? Because it's Easter Sunday, but the world is not yet Galilee. The world is not yet perfect. There are many things that bring us down, many things that hold us in the grip of death, physically or metaphorically. Many things hold us down. But we're all sitting here, hopefully, not just because we are fulfilling our Easter obligation. Hopefully that isn't the only reason that we're sitting here, but I'm glad to see you regardless. Hopefully we're sitting here because we're taking a second look at this God thing. For many of us, God comes through a personal experience, and then we navigate up to a more theological, academic experience and discover that God is true. For others of us, we seek truth through academia and through all these other places. And we go as far as we can go, and we're still hungry. And then we have some experience in our life that helps us to fall to our knees and to say, I can't do it by myself. As great as my family is, they can't do it by themselves. As great as my church is, my society is, It can't do it by itself. All these things, friends, point to something greater. We have a desire deep within us as human beings to reach for the good. And thank God for that. Because if you and I all took a break from reaching for the good, the world would be in absolute chaos. Easter Sunday, friends, is all about the fact that death does not win in the end. It's another stage of life. It's another stage of life. It's hard to struggle with that. It's hard to get there, especially when you're sitting in it. But it's another stage of life. In the gospel reading today, Mary Magdalene has been greatly traumatized by the death of someone deeply important to her, as well as the disciples. But they've totally forgotten what his whole mission is about. As he drew closer to his impending death, it would have been easy for him to stop going. But he kept going. Why? For the same reason that you and I keep going, right? Love. Have you ever had someone in your life, they stop going because they're beaten down by life? But because we love them, what do we keep doing? We keep reaching out. We keep loving them. We keep forgiving them. We keep hugging them. We keep touching them. Because why? Our hearts pound in our chest, and breath is drawn even on our darkest day. And every once in a while, we have to kind of stop and think about that. That's why I love that expression, take a breath. You ever thought about that? On your worst day, someone says, take a breath, and you get real pissed off. Don't tell me to take a breath. But what happens if we stop taking breaths? We faint. If we try to hold our breath, what happens? Breath just bursts forth because that's called life. And our God is the one who has put that life into us. And no matter what the circumstance of life is, we have to breathe. We have to breathe. And that's the beautiful thing about community. We help each other to keep breathing and to keep stepping throughout all the different dramas of life. And if we keep breathing and we keep reaching, what happens? Maybe Thursday or Friday or Saturday, what was horrific might feel slightly better. It might feel slightly better. And again, that is the gift of community. We have to keep each other going. One of my favorite terms in a choir is this idea of staggering your breathing. A choir can sustain a note for 25 minutes as long as people don't take a breath at the same time. That is a wonderful metaphor for life. We have to keep breathing. We can't all take the breath at the same time. Because if we do, the music stops. And God has placed the music in you and I that helps us when we stop and we get tired just to look around. And maybe one other person might have a little bit more energy. That other person that has a little bit more energy can get us through the day. Have you ever had someone tell you, stop being a drama queen or a drama king? Sometimes we need to have people lovingly say that to us. Especially if our drama goes on too long. Because if our drama goes on too long, what happens? We believe that life is drama, and life is not drama. Drama could be a part of life, but life is not drama. And when you and I breathe, we remember that. That's what happened in the gospel. Mary Magdalene, caught in grief, doesn't even recognize the person whom she was closest to. But what does Jesus do? Does he say, woman, you're crazy? Snap out of it? What does he say to her? He calls her by name. And friends, that's the beautiful gift of being a part of this choir called church, this choir called community. Because every once in a while, we have to call each other by name. And isn't it beautiful to be called by your name by someone who knows you? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but we forget ourselves. We forget who we are. We do. But it is a gift when God calls us by name and says, turn the page. Turn the page. Put down your burden for a moment. Try a new way. Have you ever been stuck in an old way? Sure we have, right? We keep trying that old way, and it doesn't work. So we have two choices. We can die in an old way, or we can change our minds. And that's what faith is all about. Having a new mind. And the example that Christ gives us is what? If a person treats you badly, treat him goodly. If a person wants to take all that you have, give it to him. It's not that important. If a person wants to be mean and nasty, we don't have to be mean and nasty. Have a new mind. That's what it means to put on Christ. That's what it means to breathe. If we're used to kind of pushing people away in our lives, Jesus says, put on a new mind. Let people help you. If we're used to saying, but helping people takes way too much energy, Jesus says, put on a new mind. Try it. It might help you with your drama. The other thing I love about this gospel, and I'll finish with this, is when Mary Magdalene, she finally gets it, what does she do? She just wants to hug Jesus and hug Jesus and hug Jesus. Do any of you have people that just kind of hug you all the time? And hugs are good. As soon as you just kind of go, you can get off now. Not because I don't love you. I deeply love you. But there's work to be done. He was not being mean in this gospel. He's saying, there's work to be done. Other people have stopped breathing. We need to say, breathe. Other people have stopped sleeping. And we have to say, rest. Other people have stopped caring. And we have to say, care. So as beautiful as hugs are, we have to get busy with the greater mission. So here's my challenge. Catholics, Christians, lovers of God, let's act like it. If faith and religion just becomes an academic exercise that we hold up here and it never trickles down to our lives, that's all it is. I said last night at the Easter Vigil, there's nothing worse than a stale Catholic, a stale Christian, a stale believer in God. What do they do? If you are stale, you pass on that lovely staleness to other people. And I don't know about you, but I like fresh bread. I like fresh beer. I like fresh things. And if you and I don't stay fresh and come to the source of that freshness, we become stale. So here's my challenge. Easter Sunday, 2015. If there is something in your life, in my life, if there's old dough that needs to be thrown out, let's throw it out today. Let's get new dough and new yeast planted deep within ourselves and let it rise. It will help you feel better. It will help others feel better. And God's kingdom doesn't become a fairy tale. It becomes a reality. Galilee, Galilee, help me to walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Galilee, help me to walk to Galilee. Galilee, oh Help me to walk to Galilee, Galilee, oh Galilee. Help us to walk to Galilee. You have the words now. Let's be fresh. Galilee, Galilee. Help me to walk to Galilee, Galilee, Galilee. Help us to walk to Galilee, Galilee, Galilee. Help us to walk to Galilee, Galilee, oh Galilee. Help us to walk to Galilee. He is risen. Let the church say, amen.